Here's something that'll shock you. 90% of your suffering isn't caused by what happens to you. It's caused by the crazy demands you make about what happens. You're walking around insisting reality must be different. And when it's not, you make yourself miserable. I've worked with thousands of people, and they all do this, including you. Let me prove it. Here's what we're doing today. I'm going to teach you about something I call awfulizing. It's this ridiculous thing your brain does where it takes normal, everyday problems and turns them into catastrophes. Right now, you probably spend hours every week upset about things that don't actually matter. Someone said something wrong. You made a small mistake. Things didn't go exactly how you wanted. And instead of just dealing with it and moving on, you torture yourself. You tell yourself it's terrible, that you can't handle it, that it shouldn't have happened. These aren't just thoughts. They're demands you're making on reality. And reality doesn't give a damn about your demands. Most people think their emotions just happen to them. Someone does something, and boom, you're angry. Something goes wrong, and boom, you're anxious. Wrong. Dead wrong. Between what happens and how you feel, there's something else. What you believe about what happened. That's what we're fixing today. I'm going to show you the exact process your mind uses to blow things out of proportion. More important, I'm going to give you a simple way to catch yourself doing it and stop. This isn't therapy talk. This isn't think positive garbage. This is practical psychology that actually works. I've used this with everyone from CEOs to teenagers to people who couldn't get out of bed in the morning. And it works because it's based on how your mind actually operates. By the end of this video, you'll understand why small problems feel so big. And you'll have a specific method to keep them small. Sound good? Let's get into it. Your brain has a built-in exaggeration system. It's not broken. It's actually doing what it thinks is protecting you. But it's making you miserable in the process. Let me teach you something called the ABC model. It's simple, but it'll change how you see everything. A is the activating event. Something happens. You're stuck in traffic. Someone criticizes you. You make a mistake. That's just the event. It's neutral. B is your belief about that event. This is the key. This is where you screw yourself up. You don't just observe what happened. You interpret it. You tell yourself what it means. C is the consequence. How you feel and what you do. And here's the part everyone gets wrong. C doesn't come from A. It comes from B. You think traffic makes you angry? No. Your belief about traffic makes you angry. The belief that it shouldn't be there. That it's awful. That you can't stand it. That's what creates the anger. Someone else sits in the same traffic and feels fine. Same event. Different belief. Different consequence. See how this works? Your mind makes 3 types of crazy demands. I call them the 3 musts, and you probably make all of them every single day. Must number 1. I must do well and win approval, or else I'm worthless. This is the one that makes you panic when you make mistakes. Makes you feel like garbage when someone doesn't like you. Must number 2. Others must treat me fairly and kindly, or else they're horrible people and deserve to be punished. This one makes you rage when someone's rude. Makes you hold grudges for years. Must number 3. Life must be easy and give me what I want, or else it's awful and I can't stand it. This is why you can't handle inconvenience. Why small setbacks feel like disasters. Notice the pattern? You're demanding perfection. From yourself, from others, from life itself. And when you don't get it, which is always, you make yourself miserable. Let me introduce you to 2 of your mind's favorite tricks. I call them awfulizing and I can't stand it-itis. Yeah, I made up that second one. Sue me. Awfulizing is when you tell yourself something is awful. Not just bad. Not just inconvenient. Awful. The worst possible thing. You use words like terrible, horrible, catastrophic for things that are just annoying. You spill coffee on your shirt. This is terrible. No, it's not. It's coffee on shirt. Someone doesn't text back. This is awful. No, it's not. It's someone not texting. I can't stand it-itis is when you tell yourself you can't handle something. I can't stand being embarrassed. I can't deal with this. I can't handle criticism. Really? You can't? Because you're still here. You're still alive. You're standing it right now. What you mean is you don't like it. But you absolutely can stand it. You just don't want to. Here's the thing. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you by making you take threats seriously. Back when we lived in caves, if something went wrong, it might actually kill you. So your brain evolved to treat problems as urgent, as dangerous. But now, most problems aren't life or death. They're just inconvenient, uncomfortable, annoying. But your brain still reacts like you're being chased by a tiger. The problem is you believe these reactions. You think because something feels awful is awful. Because it feels unbearable, it is unbearable. But feelings aren't facts. Your anxiety about being late doesn't mean being late is catastrophic. It just means you're anxious. I had a client once who had a full-blown panic attack because she thought she might be 5 minutes late to work. 5 minutes, not an hour. Not missing an important meeting, just possibly being 5 minutes late. We worked through the ABC model together. The activating event was running behind schedule. Simple fact. But her belief? Her belief was I must never be late. Being late is terrible. My boss will think I'm incompetent. I'll lose my job. I'll never find another one. I'll end up homeless. You see how she went from 5 minutes to homelessness in her head? That's catastrophizing. That's awfulizing. And the consequence? Panic attack. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Actually made her later because she was too anxious to function. When we disputed that belief, everything changed. Is being 5 minutes late really terrible? No, it's mildly inconvenient. Will her boss actually fire her for it? Extremely unlikely. Has she been late before without disaster? Yes, many times. Would being late make her worthless as a person? Absolutely not. Once she saw how irrational the belief was, the panic dropped. She still preferred not to be late. She still felt a little concerned. But concern is healthy. Panic is not. Concern says, hey, try to hurry. Panic says you're about to lose everything. Okay, so now you know how your mind blows things up. But here's what you really want to know. How do you stop it? How do you catch yourself in the moment and shut this down? That's what we're doing next. And it's simpler than you think. You can't stop irrational thoughts from appearing, but you can dispute them. You can question them. You can refuse to believe them. This is the most powerful tool in psychology. First step, you got to catch yourself doing it. And most people don't. They go straight from event to emotion without noticing the belief in between. Something happens. You feel bad. You think the event caused the feeling. You never look at what you told yourself about it. So start paying attention. When you feel upset, angry, anxious, depressed, whatever, pause. Ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now? What belief am I holding? Usually it's some version of those 3 musts. This shouldn't have happened. They must not treat me this way. I can't handle this. Write it down if you need to. Actually write down the belief. Get out of your head and onto paper where you can see how ridiculous it is. Because here's the secret. Once you can see the belief clearly, it loses half its power immediately. It's like turning on the lights and realizing the monster is just a coat rack. Now comes the fun part. You're going to dispute these beliefs. You're going to question them like a lawyer cross-examining a lying witness. Ask yourself these questions, and I want you to actually answer them, not just nod along. Question 1. Where's the evidence for this belief? If you believe you must succeed at everything, where's the law that says so? Where's it written? Who decided this? You just made it up. Question 2. Where's the evidence this is awful? Is it really awful? Or is it just inconvenient? Is it actually unbearable? Or do you just not like it? Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst thing that could happen to a human being. Your coworker being rude is probably a 3. Question 3. Does this belief help me or hurt me? When you tell yourself something is catastrophic, do you feel better or worse? Do you solve the problem faster or slower? Usually these beliefs just paralyze you. Question 4. What would be a more rational belief? What could you tell yourself instead? Something that's actually true and actually helpful. Let me show you how this works with real examples. Irrational belief. I must get this promotion or I'm a complete failure. Rational alternative. I prefer to get this promotion. I'll be disappointed if I don't. But not getting it doesn't make me worthless. It just means I didn't get one specific promotion. See the difference? You're not pretending you don't care. You're not doing toxic positivity. You're just being accurate instead of dramatic. Another one. Irrational. My friend must text me back immediately or they don't care about me. Rational. I'd like them to text back soon. But they have their own life and schedule. Not texting back immediately doesn't mean they don't care. It means they're busy. One more. Irrational. This traffic is awful and I can't stand it. Rational. This traffic is annoying and inconvenient. I don't like it, but I can absolutely stand it. I'm standing it right now. Getting upset won't make it move faster. You're not eliminating negative feelings. You're making them proportional. You're feeling annoyed instead of enraged. Disappointed instead of devastated. Concerned instead of panicked. Here's the magic formula that'll save you thousands of hours of suffering. Change your demands into preferences. You can prefer things without demanding them. You can want things without insisting the universe give them to you. I prefer to succeed. Healthy. I must succeed. Recipe for anxiety. I like people to treat me well. Reasonable. People must treat me well. You'll be angry forever. I want life to go smoothly. Sure, why not? Life must go smoothly. Good luck with that. When you prefer something and don't get it, you feel disappointed. That's normal. That's healthy. That's proportional. When you demand something and don't get it, you feel devastated. Enraged. Like the world is ending. That's irrational. That's optional. That's what we're fixing. You're allowed to want things. You're allowed to feel bad when you don't get them. But you're not allowed to torture yourself with impossible demands. I used to have a terrible fear of public speaking. Terrible. I'd get anxious for days before a talk. My hands would shake. I'd stumble over words. It was bad. So I identified the irrational belief. I must speak perfectly or people will think I'm inadequate. And if people think I'm inadequate, that proves I am inadequate. Then I disputed it. Where's the evidence I must speak perfectly? There isn't any. Where's the evidence that one bad speech makes me inadequate as a person? Nowhere. Does this belief help me speak better? No, it makes me too nervous to think straight. Then I created a rational alternative. I prefer to speak well, but even if I don't, I'm still acceptable as a person. People might judge my performance, but that doesn't define my worth. And here's what I did. I forced myself to give talks. Lots of them. Over 100 times. I deliberately went to places where I'd be nervous and practiced disputing my irrational beliefs in real time. Did I speak perfectly? Hell no. Did I stumble? Absolutely. Did that make me worthless? Not even a little bit. And each time I survived an imperfect talk, the belief weakened. Eventually, I actually started enjoying public speaking. Not because I became perfect, but because I stopped demanding perfection. All right. So you can catch irrational beliefs and dispute them. That's huge. But here's what trips people up. They think they should never feel bad. They think the goal is to be happy all the time. Wrong. Dead wrong. Let me explain why negative emotions are actually your friend. Listen carefully because this is where most people get confused. When something bad happens, you should feel bad. If you lose your job, you should feel concerned and disappointed. If someone treats you poorly, you should feel annoyed. If you make a mistake, you should feel regretful. These are healthy negative emotions. They're proportional to what happened. They motivate you to fix the problem. They pass when the situation improves. But what you're probably doing is creating unhealthy negative emotions. Depression instead of sadness. Anxiety instead of concern. Rage instead of annoyance. Shame instead of regret. The difference? Intensity and duration. Healthy concern. I might not pass this test. I should study more. I feel motivated to prepare. Unhealthy anxiety. I must pass this test. If I don't, I'm worthless. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't eat. I can't sleep. See it? Same situation. Totally different emotional response. One helps you. One destroys you. Healthy emotions give you useful information. They tell you something needs attention. Then they let you handle it. You feel disappointed you didn't get the job. That's your brain saying this mattered to you. Maybe improve your interview skills. Useful. But unhealthy emotions just overwhelm you. You feel devastated you didn't get the job. You tell yourself you're unemployable. You stop applying. You spiral into depression. Not useful. Here's the test. Ask yourself, is this emotion helping me solve the problem or making the problem worse? If you're concerned about money and that concern motivates you to budget better, healthy. If you're so anxious about money you can't think straight and avoid looking at your bank account, unhealthy. If you're annoyed at your partner and address the issue calmly, healthy. If you're so enraged you say things you'll regret and damage the relationship, unhealthy. Your goal isn't to feel nothing. It's to feel things that help you. Some people hear this and think, okay, so I should never feel anxious or depressed or angry. I should only feel healthy emotions. No, stop that. You're human. You're going to have unhealthy emotions sometimes. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress. It's having fewer unhealthy emotions and more healthy ones. It's catching yourself faster when you slip into irrational thinking. You're going to awfulize sometimes. You're going to catastrophize. You're going to demand things from the universe. We all do. But each time you catch it and dispute it, you get better. Each time you replace a demand with a preference, you get stronger. Each time you feel disappointed instead of devastated, you win. Don't beat yourself up for having irrational thoughts. Just notice them, dispute them, replace them, move on. Beating yourself up for having irrational thoughts is just another irrational thought. I must never think irrationally. See? You're doing it again. Here's the ultimate lesson. Reality doesn't care about your demands. The universe isn't going to rearrange itself because you think things should be different. People aren't going to change because you think they must treat you better. Life isn't going to get easier because you think it's awful that it's hard. Your only choice is acceptance, not resignation. Acceptance. There's a difference. Resignation. Life is terrible and there's nothing I can do about it. That's giving up. That's depression. Acceptance. Life is what it is. Some parts are hard. I can handle hard things. Let me focus on what I can control. That's wisdom. That's strength. You accept that people sometimes treat you badly. Then you decide how to respond. You accept that you make mistakes. Then you learn from them. You accept that life isn't fair. Then you stop wasting energy being outraged by that fact. This isn't about being passive. It's about being realistic. You can only change what's actually changeable. And your demands? Those aren't changing reality. They're just making you miserable. I had a client who was absolutely furious that it rained on her wedding day. Furious. She spent the entire day raging about how it shouldn't rain, how it was awful, how her wedding was ruined. The rain didn't care. It rained anyway. But her belief about the rain destroyed her experience. Not the rain itself. The belief. We worked on this afterwards. What if she had believed, I'd prefer it didn't rain, but oh well. I can't control the weather. Let me focus on enjoying the parts one can control. Same rain. Totally different day. She would have felt disappointed for maybe 5 minutes, then moved on to enjoying her wedding. Instead, she chose rage and misery. That's your choice too. Every single day. You can demand reality be different and suffer when it's not. Or you can prefer things to be different, accept when they're not, and focus on what you can actually do. So you understand the difference between healthy and unhealthy emotions now. Good. But here's the real test. Can you actually do this in a moment? When you're upset, can you catch yourself and dispute your thinking? That's what we need to talk about next. Making this practical, making it automatic. Knowing this intellectually isn't enough. You need to practice. You need to drill it until disputing irrational beliefs becomes automatic. Here's exactly how. Every single day, I want you to do this exercise. It takes 10 minutes. It'll change your life. At the end of each day, write down one time you got upset about something. Anything. Traffic, a criticism, a mistake, whatever. Then work through the ABC model. A. What happened? Just the facts. No interpretation. B. What did you tell yourself about it? What was your belief? C. How did you feel and what did you do? Then, add D. Dispute. Go through those questions we talked about. Challenge the belief. Write down a rational alternative. Finally, E. What's the effect of that new belief? How would you feel differently? What would you do instead? This isn't homework for homework's sake. This is reps. You're building a mental muscle. The more you practice disputing and writing, the easier it becomes to do it in real time. I've had clients who resisted this. I don't need to write it down. I get it. Then 6 months later, they're still miserable because they never actually practiced. Don't be that person. Here's what happens after a few weeks of practice. You start catching yourself in the moment. You're stuck in traffic. You feel that familiar rage building. But now, there's a split second where you notice, oh, I'm telling myself this shouldn't be happening. That's awful. That's the belief creating my anger. In that moment, you have a choice. You can believe the thought and spiral, or you can dispute it. Actually, traffic happens. It's annoying, not awful. Getting angry won't help. At first, you'll catch yourself after you're already upset. That's fine. You'll still be able to calm down faster. Eventually, you'll catch yourself as you're getting upset. You'll feel that first spike of emotion and immediately recognize the irrational belief behind it. And if you practice enough, sometimes you'll catch it before you get upset. You'll see the situation, recognize what you normally tell yourself, and just not believe it. That's the goal. That's freedom. Not never having problems. Not never having negative emotions. But not creating suffering on top of your problems. Create a list of rational coping statements. Write them down. Memorize them. Use them. These are the replacement thoughts you'll use when you catch yourself awfulizing or demanding. Examples. This is bad, but not awful. I can handle bad. I'd prefer this didn't happen, but it did. Now what can I do about it? Uncomfortable isn't unbearable. I've survived uncomfortable before. This person's behavior is rude, not catastrophic. I can choose how I respond. Making a mistake doesn't make me worthless. It makes me human. Keep these handy. On your phone, on a card in your wallet, wherever. When you feel yourself spiraling, read them. Out loud if you need to. Force your brain to consider the alternative belief. It feels mechanical at first. That's okay. You're literally rewiring neural pathways. It's supposed to feel unnatural. Keep doing it anyway. Your brain is going to fight this. It's used to the old patterns. It's comfortable with catastrophizing. You have thoughts like, but this is awful. But they shouldn't have done that. But I can't handle this. That's not truth. That's habit. Your brain defending its old programming. Just notice it. Oh, there's my brain insisting this is awful again. How predictable. Then dispute it anyway. You'll also have days where you backslide, where you spend hours upset about something stupid, where you can't seem to dispute anything and everything feels terrible. That's normal. That's part of the process. Don't let one bad day convince you this doesn't work. The question isn't did I do it perfectly? The question is am I doing it more often than I was last month? If yes, you're winning. Keep going. I practiced this stuff on myself for decades. Decades. I still do. When I get angry at people, I force myself to dispute it. When I feel anxious, I challenge my own thinking. I'm not perfect at it. I still have irrational thoughts. I still awfulize sometimes. But I catch it faster now. I dispute it more effectively. I suffer less. That's all you need. Not perfection, just progress. Just getting a little better at catching your own nonsense and choosing not to believe it. Okay, we've covered a lot. You understand how your mind creates catastrophes. You know how to dispute irrational beliefs. You got a daily practice. But let me give you one more thing. The perspective that makes all of this easier. This is the big picture that ties everything together. The root of most irrational beliefs is conditional self-worth. You think you're only acceptable if you achieve, if others approve, if life goes well. That's the real problem. And there's a better way. You know what most people do? They rate themselves. They give themselves a score based on their performance, their achievements, other people's opinions. I succeeded, so I'm good. I failed, so I'm bad. People like me, so I'm worthy. Someone rejected me, so I'm worthless. This is insane. You're not a performance. You're not a score. You're a human being. Human beings are too complex to be rated. Think about it. You have billions of thoughts, millions of actions, thousands of qualities. How are you going to add all that up and get one number? One rating? You can't, but you try anyway. And then you torture yourself trying to maintain a high rating. You demand perfection from yourself because if you're not perfect, your rating drops. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't need a rating. You can just exist. You can accept yourself unconditionally. Unconditional self-acceptance doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It doesn't mean you never want to improve. It doesn't mean your behaviors are all acceptable. It means you separate yourself from your behaviors. Your behaviors can be good or bad, helpful or harmful, effective or ineffective. Rate those all you want. Learn from them. Change them. But you, the person having those behaviors, you're acceptable. Period. Not because you earned it. Not because you're perfect. Just because you're alive and human. When you screw up, you don't say I'm bad. You say the behavior was ineffective. What can I do differently? When someone doesn't like you, you don't say I'm unlikable. You say that person doesn't prefer me. So what? Not everyone has to. When you fail, you don't say I'm a failure. You say I failed at that thing. I'm still me. Still acceptable. Let me try again or try something else. See the shift? You're no longer living in fear of being unworthy because your worth isn't on the table. It's not conditional. You got it already. Once you accept yourself unconditionally, most of your irrational demands disappear. I must succeed. Why? So you can prove you're worthy? You're already acceptable whether you succeed or not. Others must approve of me. Why? So you can feel valuable? Your value doesn't depend on their approval. I can't stand making mistakes. Why not? Because mistakes mean you're defective? No, mistakes mean you're human. You see how this works? When your core belief is I'm acceptable no matter what, the pressure drops. The fear drops. The desperation drops. You still prefer to succeed. You still want approval. You still don't enjoy mistakes. But you don't need these things to be okay. You're already okay. This doesn't make you lazy. Actually, it makes you more effective. Because you're not paralyzed by fear of failure. You can take risks. You can try new things. You can handle setbacks because they don't threaten your core worth. And once you accept yourself unconditionally, you can extend that to others. Other people aren't good or bad. They're just people. Imperfect, flawed, human people doing their best with what they know. When someone treats you poorly, they're not evil. They're just behaving badly. You can address the behavior without condemning the person. You can also extend this to life itself. Life doesn't have to be fair or easy or perfect for you to be okay. Life is what it is. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, mostly in between. You're not entitled to a perfect life, but you also don't need one. You can handle an imperfect life. You're tougher than you think. This is the ultimate freedom. Accepting yourself, accepting others, accepting life as it actually is, not as you demand it should be. From that place of acceptance, you can actually start making real changes. Not from desperation and fear, but from strength and choice. Think about rating a fruit basket. You can rate individual fruits. This apple is good, that banana is bruised. But you can't rate the basket. It's just a basket with various fruits in it. Same with humans. You have various traits and behaviors, some better than others. But you, the whole person, can't be given one rating. You just are. And that's enough. Being human is enough. You don't have to earn your right to exist. You don't have to prove your worth. You're acceptable because you're here. Once you really get this, everything else gets easier. The disputing gets easier. The preferences instead of demands get easier. The healthy emotions instead of unhealthy ones get easier. Because you're not fighting for your worth anymore. You've already got it. You're just trying to live effectively and feel appropriately and solve actual problems. That's it. That's the whole game. All right, we've covered everything. Your mind's catastrophe machine. How to dispute it. The difference between healthy and unhealthy emotions. Daily practice. Unconditional self-acceptance. You've got the full toolkit now. Let me bring this all together. Your mind takes small problems and turns them into catastrophes through irrational beliefs. It makes demands on reality. This must not happen. That should be different. I can't stand this. And when reality doesn't comply, you suffer. But you're not stuck with this. You can catch these beliefs using the ABC model. You can dispute them with rational questions. You can replace demands with preferences. You can feel disappointed instead of devastated, concerned instead of anxious, annoyed instead of enraged. The goal isn't to never feel bad. It's to feel bad proportionally. To have healthy negative emotions that inform you and motivate you, instead of unhealthy ones that paralyze you. This takes practice, daily practice, writing out your ABCs, disputing in real time, using rational coping statements, building the muscle until it becomes automatic. And underneath it all is unconditional self-acceptance. Accepting that you're okay whether you succeed or fail, whether people approve or not, whether life is easy or hard. That your worth isn't conditional. That you're acceptable because you're alive and human. Period. This isn't theory. This is practical psychology that works. I've seen it work with thousands of people. It'll work for you if you actually practice it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about when other people are the problem? When they're actually being unreasonable or harmful? Good question. That's what we're covering next. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to deal with genuinely difficult people without losing your mind. Because here's the thing. Sometimes people really are being unreasonable, but that still doesn't mean you have to make yourself miserable about it. There's a way to set boundaries, stand up for yourself, and handle conflict without all the rage and anxiety you're probably experiencing now. It's called How to Handle Difficult People Without Losing Your Dignity, and you need to watch it. Click the video on your screen right now. Don't wait. This is the missing piece. See you there.